What's going on, family? Give me one moment while I get everything set up. There we go. Hope everybody can hear me. Hope everybody can hear the tunes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. Episode is it 2 or 3? I don't know. We just got to take it day by day. Get situated. Simmer down. Approach at the end of the day. It's 11:48 p.m. Eastern Time. And we are going to go over a few things today. Well, tonight. Let's vibe out. Get you ready for bed. Get you a midnight snack. Grab you something. I know y'all watched that NBA Finals game. That shit was crazy. Luka fouled out. Mavs couldn't finish at the end. Still had opportunity to win the game. Just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. But, I kind of predicted this. I mean, I knew Boston would win, but I really didn't think it would be a sweep. But we'll see. Hasn't totally yet been a sweep, but 0-3 is, yeah, pretty bad. I haven't seen anyone come back from 0-3. I don't think we've ever seen that. We've seen 3-1. That was LeBron in the finals against the Warriors, which was crazy. But yeah, Bilt Mogul Club Bilt Mogul, we in here again. Hope y'all had a great weekend. We're going to be jumping right into some things. But first, a word from our sponsor, Still Collective. Remember to always go and get your Still Collective gear. Go ahead and shop on their store. Go to the website, thestillcollective.com. Check out some of their topics that they discuss. They got finals previews. They got Drake versus Kendrick forums, fan forums. You can request your own forums. 10-inch displays. You can get your favorite highlights, football and basketball. So you get highlights like this. Here's a football one. Then you can just display it in your room. Boom. Pick your favorite team, pick your favorite player. Just hang it up in your room. Very easy, very simple. But yeah, Still Collective. Go ahead and subscribe, join the Discord. Link is in the bio. Appreciate your support. Also subscribe, hit that like button before we start this off here. We just got a few topics, man. We just taking this day by day. Hope y'all enjoying yourselves, enjoying your week, being around the people you care about and love the most. Because that's what it's about. But yeah. Let's jump right into it. We want to, always promote businesses that are starting up here, just like the Still Collective. Get your company here and we can break it down, show people, show customers where to buy the product at, why it's important, how they can utilize it in their lives. I mean, this right here particularly is cool because you can just put it on your desk, you can put it on your wall, put it in your office, in your room, and it changes. I promise you, it changes the whole vibe of the room. when you got your favorite team, your favorite player showing you their highlights when you walk in. It's the vibe. It's just the whole vibe. But yeah, that's uh that's how we do it here. We promote. We definitely support whatever we can, however we can. So we're gonna jump right into another company that jumped on us, wanted us to help support what they got going on. It's called My K Bar. My K Bar. Very interesting take on skincare. You know, everything they do is organic, everything is natural, natural flavors, natural, not flavors, excuse me, natural ingredients, natural oils. They're on Amazon, people. So it's very easy. Type in My K Bar in your search Amazon and this pops up. Got your turmeric soaps, dark mark helps clear off dark marks. Jump right in here. This product is handmade. It was crafted, hand designed, hand altered with love. Black owned business. Definitely support your black owned businesses, y'all. We out here. We got to. No one else is gonna do it for us. You know, go ahead and get your soap, get your oil. All these products usually bought together $40. Come on now. One thing we do definitely focus on here on the Club Bilt Mogul is your mental health. That's number one, but it's also your hygiene. Your hygiene is important. I think just as important as your mental health is your hygiene. Come on now. We gotta take care of our bodies. We have to make sure we're putting in the right things internally and externally. And that includes soap, that includes toothpaste, that includes oils, that includes shampoos, all of that. So go ahead and check out My K Bar. They got your scrubs. I know my lady's gonna love this. I know my lady's gonna love this. With brother. Ooh, that looks so soothing. Go ahead and get you a bath. Put you some bath balls in there, run you some water. You know, fellas, if you're looking to get your lady a nice gift, maybe have a nice spa day, set her up something good. I mean, that's what I would do for my woman, you know. Get her a couple of these soaps, run her a bath water, maybe get a hotel room with a nice bidet and a nice, just luxury style bathroom, you know, studio room. Run the hot water, maybe, you know, get some hot oils for a massage later. Throw on some nice jazz music, chill, relax, get some wine. Look, I'm over here rizzing y'all up. Let me stop. Let me stop. But yeah, they got a lot of products here. My K Bar, check them out, man. Definitely check them out. And if you got a company yourself that you want us to promote, us to go in here, look at these prices. They're so cheap. $8. Come on, stuff you spend on Chipotle, with the amount you spend on freaking things that's going to be detrimental to you, you can purchase something that's going to aid and contribute to your health. You know, I'm about to buy me, definitely about to give me this soap. I need this soap. Now, I consume turmeric. I take turmeric supplements, so I know how important turmeric is. Great for brain function when digested, but when used on your body, it's also good for your skin. Look at some of these reviews. Somebody posted their before and after. Wow, that is a difference. Look how much shinier that is. Much more of that glow. Now she still got a big ass forehead. Sorry, whoever this is, but god dang, that's a 4. That's a 5. But this makes you look better actually. This looks crazy. This looks good. This looks decent. I like that. So it definitely has its remedy effect on there. We got somebody else here. Oh, she says be careful if you have allergies. Yeah, if you have allergies, you should always be careful with what you do put on your skin. If you have allergies, you should know you're allergic. If you're allergic to turmeric, don't use this item, please. All right, guys. If you're allergic to honey, beef, allergic to bee stings, don't use this one. Get the other one. Get the one you're not allergic to, people. Get the sea moss one. You know, definitely mind your medical conditions when purchasing anything online. I mean, but that's the thing. People don't think past go. And that's the next topic and segue into that. Just the main topic. And what are you putting on? What are you consuming? What are the things that we are eating? I mean, I talk about mental health and I say that's important. And I'm going to get you guys an episode where I cover that. But right now, I want to cover this diet that we are here in America going through. We're going through a crisis when it comes to the food we intake. The food we intake. Even in the grocery store, like you got to be careful what you're putting in your bodies. You got to be careful. Like, be careful. We got bioengineered ingredients in food now. I mean, this is next level diabolicalness.
Grocery shopping for your family, you may have noticed this new word, bioengineered, on some of your food
Hmm.
labels, or perhaps you've seen this new symbol. But I'm guessing to a average US consumer, it's a bit of a mystery what bioengineered actually means.
Mm. See, now they want to try
Now,
to
before we dive into what
switch it up on
bioengineered
you,
food is, I am curious to hear,
break it
have you
down
seen
for
the
you.
word bioengineered in the grocery store since this January? And do you know what the term bioengineered actually means? From the perspective of a consumer, I could see how this change to using bioengineered came as quite a surprise. But from the perspective of food manufacturers or food producers, they actually knew this change was coming for years now. And that's because this
Since
law, the
2018,
National
wow.
Bioengineered Food Disclosure Law, which I just feel like that's not a smooth name, but this food disclosure law, this was signed in 2016. So food producers knew for years this was coming up, and the mandatory compliance date to label, or sorry, to disclose, we'll get into that later, to disclose that your food is bioengineered, the mandatory date to comply was January 1st, 2022. Now, the legal definition for bioengineered foods put forth in this new law says that bioengineered foods contain detectable genetic material
Look at
that could
this.
not be derived from
Contain the detectable genetic material that has been modified. She said could not. That has been modified through certain lab techniques and cannot be created through conventional breeding or found in nature. Do y'all understand that? Just real quick. I just want everyone to soak that part in because that's crazy. So you're telling me what you're eating is no way, shape, or form from nature. Nowhere, shape, or form from or created through conventional breeding or nature or found in nature. So nothing with breeding, nothing with reproductive, nothing. It's not an animal reproducing. It's a laboratory doing the work. It's a laboratory making your chicken. It's a laboratory making your
conventional
crackers.
breeding. Instead, you have to use certain lab techniques, and this genetic material otherwise would not be found in nature. Now, what's maybe not obvious at first is that this definition for bioengineered food is actually very, very specific. It tells you what you must detect via a test, the genetic material, if your food is to be labeled bioengineered. Now, compare that to a definition of GMO. Say, let's just use the definition set forth by the Non GMO Project. GMOs is actually a much broader term. So GMO refers to any living organism whose genetic material has been artificially manipulated in a lab setting. This can include many different genetic engineering techniques, and it refers to any combination of genes that would have not occurred in nature. And the non-GMO project goes on to specify that GMOs also includes any products or ingredients that are derived from that initial genetically modified organism. Now, I think this difference between what is a GMO and bioengineered food versus what is just a GMO and not bioengineered is quite confusing and abstract. So let me give you a couple of real examples. Let's say we're looking at something like soybean oil, or an oil you would cook with in your kitchen. Soybeans as a crop, it's very common that they're genetically modified. So if you use the term GMO, you would say, okay, soybean oil comes from soybeans that were genetically modified, therefore the oil is also a GMO. Okay, true. But now
Hmm.
remember the definition of bioengineered. It is that you can detect the genetic material of a GMO in the food product. And in the case of soybean oil, this is not true. You would not detect that genetic material because the
Yeah.
oil is so refined and it is so
It's
processed that
so, yeah,
by the time you get
processed.
to something you would sell as soybean oil, it's just really the
You
oil
won't
part.
even
There would
know it.
not be DNA or the soybean's genetic material in that food product. Therefore, it's not technically bioengineered. Okay, here's another scenario. Say a cow
I
during its
get you.
lifetime is fed genetically modified alfalfa. Now, from
Yeah.
the non GMO project, they would say that that beef from the cow, because it ate GM feed, is considered a GMO, the beef. But from a perspective of bioengineered, because we would not detect the genetic material of the GM
Yeah,
alfalfa
because they
in the
consumed
meat
it.
of the cow, in that beef, it is not a bioengineered food. It's not
Bioengineered.
bioengineered just because it ate genetically modified feed, because we cannot find that genetic material in the final food product.
Hmm.
Okay, so how can you find out if the food you're
Interesting.
eating is bioengineered or contains bioengineered ingredients? Well, the National Bioengineered Food Disclosure Law requires food producers to do one of four things. The first way to disclose this information is simply adding to the food's label either the words contains bioengineered ingredients or this is a bioengineered food, and you'll find that right by the ingredient statement. Second way you could do this is, like I showed earlier, there is now a new logo for bioengineered foods, and this would also be near the ingredient statement on the food.
Mm.
The third way strikes me as a bit odd, but I guess a food producer can put a QR code on the label. You can scan the QR code with your
Wow.
smartphone, and that will direct you to a website, and that website
Really?
will disclose if the food is
A
bioengineered or not.
QR
The fourth
code?
way is
That's
that a food
crazy.
producer can put a phone number on the food packaging,
A
and
phone
if you're
number?
interested, you can either call or text that phone number, and they will give you the
Wow.
information on whether
That's
that
some
food
wild
is
shit.
bioengineered or not. It's really these options 3 and 4, having the QR code or the phone number, that make this a disclosure law and not a food labeling law. Because having a website or a number to text really just means you don't need the information on the food label or explicitly stated on the food label. You just have to have the information somewhere that is acceptable to consumers. And just
Oh
one
my
note here, they
God.
don't have to tell you which specific ingredients are bioengineered. They just have to say
Wow.
yes or no, this is a bioengineered food in general. I think a very fair question to ask is, why did lawmakers go with an entirely new and unfamiliar word like bioengineered when really what most of the public
Wow. What?
would
Oh my
call
God.
this is a GMO or a genetically modified organism? And now I do not know the
Okay.
specific answer to this.
Hold
I did
on.
not attend the hearings or make this law, but my first instinct is that by picking a totally new, unknown word for the most part, is they could ignore sort of all the baggage and emotions and history that the term GMO tends to bring with it. And this also gave them the opportunity to pick an exact definition of what bioengineered means, which, like I said earlier, it's a very specific definition they made. It's more specific than the term GMO. So this probably gave them a lot more freedom, a lot more control over exactly what this law was going to be. Now,
Wow.
like most food laws, there is a long list of exemptions. Some might call these loopholes.
Exemptions.
It
Let's
depends on
see.
your perspective. Let me go
Restaurant
over just a
food.
couple of these that are pretty important. The first is that they set a threshold level where for each ingredient, you can have actually up to 5% of that ingredient be bioengineered substances if it's technically unavoidable, maybe there is not an alternative, or if it was inadvertently added. Next, any
Wow.
food products that have meat,
5%.
poultry, or eggs listed as the first ingredient actually don't follow this new bioengineered law. That is because these products are regulated by different USDA statutes, so they will not follow this new bioengineering rule. The last thing I want to point
Mm.
out is really these food laws are mostly aimed at large food manufacturers. So a lot of different smaller food producers are exempt from labeling their
Wow.
products bioengineered. These are things like food trucks, restaurants, cafeterias, a lot of these
Wow.
more small businesses. They do
Wow.
not have to follow this bioengineering rule. Now,
Well,
for all this
there
hullabaloo
goes
about
that.
labeling foods as bioengineered or not labeling them, I just want to point out that the FDA and the National Academy of Sciences have found no proof that bioengineered foods are worse for your health or that they are unsafe. And
Of
actually,
course. Of
they have
course.
a really interesting book on this that I will put a link in the description. And I don't normally say that food law is interesting to read, so I actually mean this for the most part. Reading about food law is like reading the dictionary. It's not specifically fun, but they look at everything from the prevalence of autism to food allergies to your gut microbiota and if that has been influenced by bioengineered foods. So I hope this is clear. Please let me know in the comments if
Okay. Appreciate that, Abby. Um, let's look at this. USDA has a list of foods that are bioengineered. So let's do this. Is this book, does it cost money? Oh, it's free. Let's read free online. Genetically engineered crops. And this is the source. Okay. The National Academies Press, 500 Fifth Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., 20001. This activity was supported by grant, whatever, from the borough's Welcome Fund, grant 4371 from Gordon the Betty Moore Foundation, grant, yeah. These are genetically engineered crops, experiences and prospects. Wow, okay. All right. Let's go to the first page. These are all the people. These are all the editors. Let's see if they made something that's worth looking at. Okay. They put all that stuff in the front. Okay. Here it is. Our committee was given the task of examining evidence regarding potential negative effects and benefits of currently commercialized genetic engineering crops and potential benefits and negative effects of future GE crops. In carrying out this study, the committee members and I were well aware of the controversial nature of genetic engineering in the United States and globally. Before and during the committee's first meeting, we received comments from people and groups expressing the view that scientific evidence establishing the safety of current GE crops was so solid and well reviewed that only potentially useful task for the committee would be to examine emerging genetic engineering technologies. We considered these comments, but believe, we took all the comments as constructive challenges. All right, so pretty much we listened to presentations from 80 people who had diverse experiences. All right, boom, boom, boom. All right, so let's see. We don't care about that. Here we go. The study of genetically engineered crops by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. Oh, I thought I could click that and go to it. Oh, does it? Yep, it does. All right. All right. Let's see here. Order of the year. The committee report builds. Let's see. Convene such a committee on the topic. Uh, excuse me. Oh, the third was. Okay, so they're just giving you a well, yeah, giving you a summary. Dang, this is 584 pages. Yeah, we're not going to make it through all of this, but let's go to the chapter that we want to see first. Hold on. Here we go. Go to the content, the study, no, the framework, genetically engineered crops through 2015. Having laid the groundwork for his approach to risk and benefit assessment, introduced the major actors operating of the sphere of governance of genetically engineered crops and defined the terms commonly used in this report, the committee turns in this chapter to its first charge statement of task and examination of the history of developing and introduction of crops. So, developing a genetic engineering and agriculture. People have domesticated plants for at least 10,000 years. Early plant domestication involved selecting individual plants, fruit, seeds, inflorescences, or other propagules for characteristics of interest. Selected characteristics include higher yields, reduced toxicity, improved flavor or morphology of seeds or fruits, and seed heads and grains, or pods that did not shatter, where they're therefore easier to harvest. So this is basically saying you've been doing this for, I mean, it says 10,000 years, but um, this is something that's been done to improve flavor, reduce toxicity, reduce viruses, clean the fruits. So we've been doing this for a long time, pretty much. Um, One of the most vivid examples of domestication is corn, maize, beginning some, that's crazy, corn maze, beginning some 6,000, 10,000 years ago. Ancient Mesoamericans farmers drastically changed whatever that is through selection. Teosint Teosint is a grass species that has numerous lateral branches and cobs with 5 to 12 individually encapsulated kernels that drop into the ground when ripe. Okay, so it's corn. Okay. All right. So they've been altering corn for a long time. So this is how they alter corn. And if you want to read that, you can definitely read into that. We're gonna kind of graze through it. So yeah, corn was probably the first genetically modified structure, or I say structure, modified plant. And yeah, that's this is how they do it. It's interesting. They literally take the DNA structure out and then they compose it without it. You go adenine, guanine, thymine, things that your body actually need and can use. Um, it takes it out, I guess, so it can grow faster. You know, that's what it seems. The development of GE plants was a product of converge of several discoveries and technology developments, in addition to the development of RDA technologies in the early 1970s. Genetic engineering in plants required the ability to manipulate plant cells via tissue culture, effectively and fundamentally understanding a crown gall disease biology to enable whatever the hell that is, mediated gene transfer in the plant. So, yeah, basically what I just said, enable gene transfer to plants. Yeah, they want to manipulate these cells so they can do certain stuff to it, i.e., make it grow faster, make it grow a certain way, make it grow in more abundance, whatever their goal is to genetically alter these foods with. So that's interesting. And yeah, this is a lot of information. If you want to read this, I suggest go and download it. It's free to read. Plants regenerated in tissue culture sometimes vary wildly in the phenotype from their source plant and from each other. And the term, whatever, it was established to refer collectively to such phenotype variation. So the plants actually regenerated some of the things that they were taking out. That's crazy. Plants will always. It's just like our bodies when we heal. You know, when you alter our DNA, when you scratch yourself and you start to bleed, you're altering your DNA. It heals itself. When you're do something, you get sick. When your immune system attack, it's altering your DNA. It heals itself. So that's just like plants. We're just like us. You don't want to alter too much. Genetically engineered crops in 21st century. Genetic is rapidly evolving. Excuse me. Genetic engineering is rapidly evolving technology. 2015 transportation transformation described in the selection above was being overtaken by new approaches. So they got rid of this and they got a new approach. This section reviews the crops. Okay. Boom. About 12% of global cropland produced in 2015. Data for 2015 showed that GE varieties were commercially available for non-food crops. Three non-food crops, two types of flowers. Soybean were the most widely grown GE crops. So it's telling you right there. Soybean, nine other food crops, three non-food crops, probably like crackers and all that other stuff. Though these were becoming genetically engineered back in 2015, and this was 12%, and it probably is growing now. Production of GE maize has increased substantially. Yep. Since it's funny how I say stuff and then it's actually true. Since its first commercial release in 1996, when fewer than 300,000 hectares were planted, by 2006, 25.2 million hectares were in production worldwide. So yes, growing rapidly. I mean, just these are all. Look at this chart. I wish I could blow this up. I can't blow it up. Can I zoom in? No. Wait. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's read the chart. Corn, soybean, cotton. This is where it's showing you where stuff grows at. Corn, soybean, cotton, canola, sugar, whatever that is, alfalfa, papaya, squash, poplar, eggplant, potato, and apple. This is where it grows. So you can see here, United States, everything is grown here. But these are also genetically modified, grown. Everything's grown here. You got some corn here, Savalka, some corn, corn, nothing else. Cotton here, cotton, soybean, corn, soybean, Mexico has soybeans, corn. So yeah, pretty good chart, pretty good chart. Let's back it up. Location of commercially grown genetically engineered crops in 2015. So all of that where that's grown, everything here in the United States, genetically engineered. Crazy. So now it's telling you everything. So let's see, if virus resistance presents a plant from being subject to specific viral diseases in the virus resistant crops engineered 2015. The coat protein gene from the target virus, if protection is transferred into the crop, the transient gene prevents the virus from replicating successfully in the host plant. Commercially grown VR varieties of papaya were developed by Cornell University, the University of Hawaii. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So there's actually some benefit to these genetically engineered crops. So you learn something every day. You learn something every day. You hear genetically engineered and you're thinking, well, yeah, what the hell are they putting it in our foods? Why are they putting this in our diet? Why are we eating this? But when you dig deeper and you see stuff like, okay, some of this stuff is there to prevent certain diseases, certain viruses in the food, which can potentially ruin the food. Think about it, these farmers and these companies that grow this food. This is their livelihood. This is their wallet. This is how they get paid. It's how they feed their families. And if a batch of corn goes bad because of a virus that got in there that they could have got rid of early in stage, hence this would save them that that tragedy from happening. This will protect them essentially. So it's understandable, but is it worth is it worth giving us or us consuming this product and it damaging millions and millions of people versus their little pockets taking a little hit? We'll look at one more chapter. Let's see, and then we'll move on. Human health effects of genetic engineering crops. That's what we want to see right there. Boom. Yada 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 yada. This is how I read in college, y'all. This is how I read in school, and I still got A's, so it works. All right. Boom. Let's move it on. Okay. Today, no adverse health effects attributed in genetic engineering have been documented in the human body. That was in 2004. 2012. Indeed, the science is quite clear. Crop improvement by modern molecular techniques in biology is safe. 2012. Let's see what happens next. Bioengineered foods are consumed for close to 20 years, and during that time, no adverse consequences in human health have been reported and or sustained in the peer-reviewed literature. Interesting. Hmm. Let's look at 2014. Genetically modified foods currently available in the United States market have passed safety assessments, of course, and are not likely to prevent risk of human health. In addition, no effects on human health have been shown in the result of consumption of such food by the general population in the countries where they have been approved. But yet, the cancer diagnosis rate has gone up in the country. Obesity has gone up in the country. All other health issues, diabetic, hepatitis, all these other things have gone up. And I'll show you that later. But yeah, interesting. That interesting. Foods from genetically engineered plants. This is in 2015. Have been evaluated through consultation, have not gone on the market until FDA's questions about the safety of surgeons have been resolved. So this is a little different term, a little different tone here. A year later, before they're like, "Oh, it's safe," it's safe. Oh, no adverse consequences, not likely to present risk. Look how that changed. Boom. Now look at this. Foods from genetically engineered plants intended to be grown in the United States that have been evaluated by FDA through the consultation process have not gone on the market until the FDA questions about the safety of such products have been resolved. Hmm. So now they're saying, oh, we won't even put them on the market if we question and if it hasn't been resolved yet. The main conclusion to be drawn from the efforts is more than 130 research projects covering a period of time of 25 years of research, involving more than 500 independent research groups, is that biotechnology, in particular GMOs, are not per se. You see, they their confidence level is just slowly deteriorating. Oh man. Than conventional plant breeding. So they're saying, oh, it's genetic engineering is it's the same as regular, plants. You know, they get you sick too. Yeah, but we know why we're sick when it comes to other plants who that do it naturally. We don't know why we get sick when it's genetically modified. You can't pinpoint, and that's why you were up here saying this shit because you can't. It's hard to detect it. Just like the lady said in the video, if a cow eats a genetically modified food, and then that cow eats that genetically modified food for 20 years. I mean, I don't know how long a cow lives. Maybe let's say 5 years. He's consuming that food, and then they kill the cow. And now it's beef. That beef is not technically genetically modified. They're not going to label that. They're not. You're not going to know that. So if you eat that beef and you get sick and you die or something happens, or you create a chronic illness off of eating meat or consuming this food, they're not going to deem it as, oh, it's because you've been eating cows that were eating genetically modified food. It's because something else. They don't want to link it to that, and they know this. They know this very well. They know this very well. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix this back. There we go. Oh, my bad, y'all. I've been over here yapping. Forgot to turn the music back on. Let's see here. Let's go back. Where were we at? All right. Boom. Oh, whoops. Hold on. I don't know why it does that. There we go. Is that better? I don't want it to take up the whole screen. It probably was fine. All right, there we go. All right. So yeah, y'all see how that happens? Do y'all see how that happens? Let's see here. Let's go back. All right. Comparing genetically engineered crops with their counterparts. An off-sided risk of GE crops is that the genetic engineering process could cause unnatural changes in the plant's own naturally occurring proteins or metabolic pathways as a result in the unexpected production of toxins, of allergens in foods. Hmm, you see that? An off-sided risk of genetically engineered crops is that the process of genetically engineering these foods could cause unnatural changes in a plant's own naturally occurring proteins. So the proteins in the plant or food or whatever can alter naturally and create weight. It's kind of like how if y'all ever watch Loki or the multiverse of the what's it called, the Avengers? Yeah, if you ever watched that, and you remember when in Loki when they were kind of explaining how if you go back in time and you change something, it's going to create a multiple different timelines that's going to spiral out of control. Which if you ever watch Loki, I recommend watching it. It's very interesting. But this is sort of like that. When you go into a plant and you change something in this DNA, and then you try to seal it back as if you know you solved the issue. What's going to happen is naturally you're going to create other spiraling issues. Like things are going to derive from that. Other proteins or in this case, metabolic pathways are going to create, and in a result of that, unexpected production of toxins and allergens are going to be in the food. So now you're going to have certain things that develop in carrots that usually only develop in corn, certain things that develop in certain toxins or allergens that develop in potatoes that usually will only develop in peanuts. So you imagine you have a peanut allergy and you're like, okay, I have a peanut allergy. I can't eat peanuts. Boom. I understand that. Boom. But then you go take a potato, and that potato that they genetically modified created an allergen similar to your peanut allergy that you're allergic to. And now you're having that allergic reaction from a potato, and you have no idea why. That's what it is. Because analysis of risk of the product that introduced transgene itself is required during risk assessment. The argument for unpredicted toxic chemicals in GE foods is based on the assumption that a plant's endogenous metabolism is more likely to be disrupted through introduction of new genetic elements via GE than via conventional breeding or normal environmental stresses on the plant. The review begins below by discussing natural chemical constituents of plants in the context of food safety. Wow. Wow. Look at this. Man, we're not going to read all of this, but I just wanted to give you guys just enough so you now you can do the rest of it. I'm going to read this. I'm not going to read this to y'all. I just wanted to read the first parts of each paragraph to kind of see what we have there. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good. A lot of things can come from just, you know, genetically altering food. That's that's a hard one, a hard pill to swallow. To know that you've been consuming this for years, and later on down the road you develop God forbid, cancer or some type of illness, chronic illness from it, and they can't tell you where it's from. And now you're taking prescriptions, and now you're, paying out the wazoo for surgeries and all this other stuff, diet plans. So this is why you gotta watch what you put in your bodies, man. I mean, one thing I do is I look on the back of everything. If it says genetically engineered on the back of it, I just leave it alone. Unless it's something that I can kind of finesse a bit, but usually it's done. If it's genetically engineered, it's pretty much a wrap. Now, there's certain ingredients that's probably not that bad to eat. I mean, I wouldn't eat any plants. Anything that's plant genetically modified, plant based, no, stay away from. Now, if you're talking like popcorn or, maybe a chip, potato chip, you might be okay, but there's still some stuff in there I would avoid. But a lot of us can't even afford to eat like that, to move like that. So we'll see how it turns out, man. At this point, it seems like it's safe, but there you could have that 1% or that 1.01% that goes bad, and now you're just bad. It's just really bad. We don't want to go through that, man. Oh man, but yeah, listen, let's move on. Let's move on because we are not done. We are not done. I wanna I wanna talk about some things, y'all. I wanna go into some discussions about just how you're holding up. Always make sure you're checking on yourselves. If they especially when got nobody to check on you. You know, I check on my family as much as I can, but I don't really get much people checking on me. Many people don't really check on me, see how I'm doing, send me something just in case I'm low, I'm hurting, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that I expect anyone to. Not that I expect anyone to, but you know, times are hard right now. Times are hard right now. So I just wanna be here with you, let you know, hey, if we keep going in the direction that we're going here on the Club Built Mogul channel, support each other, love each other, support our businesses, you know, support the ones that support us, we'll be okay. We'll be okay because this is a very interesting time. It's never been another time like it before, in my opinion. Hasn't been another time like it. But yeah, and before we get on our next topic, let me go ahead and take a pause break for you guys. We're going to play some messages from our sponsors, some advertisements that we have, and I got some clips of me working out and in the gym, just to give you some ideas of what goes down in working out and how we can, do this together. Join the club, join the Discord. We jump on there. We all work out. We all plan a healthy diet for the day, for the week. We share stuff. So join in the community. Let's do it. And we'll be back after this. Yo, we are back. Okay. Got $1 in a dream. Yeah, you know what I mean. When I pull up to the scene, yeah, you know it's clean. Got that phone riding, sipping on that wine. Yeah, I'm doing my time. Yeah, I'm doing it like it's prime time, baby. Club mogul in this bitch. Yeah, trying to get your mental health right and fit. Yeah, why you worry about that bitch, man? Keep it going, get that bag, do that shit that you can. Fuck that nigga, he ain't really about nothing. Girl, you the star in this bitch. Yeah, it's really something when you let him interfere with your greatness and your placement. We gotta stay on top of it. Uh, Never knocking it. Yeah, it's Club Mogul, bitch. It's Club Mogul, bitch. Yeah. Hey, look. That was a little song for y'all. Let me turn this down. A little song for y'all. Bye, y'all. Right there. There you go. A little freestyle, man. keep you on your P's and Q's. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you in a relationship right now and that sucker ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, she ain't doing right, he ain't doing right, don't stick around, man. It's no more making this work in 2024, 2025. You gotta come already. You gotta come already working. You gotta come out. You can't. I mean, there can be a little things that maybe we can all improve on. No one's perfect, but when it comes to the bare minimum, you know, a good paying job or career, being able to take care of yourself, yeah, doing certain things that's beneficial to you and yours and your family, you got to have that down pat. Because if you're not able to do those things, you're not going to be able to function in a relationship. And I know we're segregating into relationships and that, but I think it has a lot to do with your mental health. It's the type of relationship you're in, not only with your partner, but with yourself, and whoever the entity you serve, God or Allah or Buddha or Ganesh, whatever, whoever you see as the almighty being. What's the relationship with that almighty being? What's the relationship with yourself? How's your relationship with your family, with your friends, with your significant other? You know, are we working to improve those and improve ourselves? Because that's the only way we improve the relationships is improving ourselves. So we gotta take it by storm, man. It's no more time.
Is over. How you know the relationship is over is when a person becomes indifferent. Indifference is how you know where they like, I don't really give a fuck what they do. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. When, like, I coach a lot of men. And the reason why a lot of people look at my videos, and the videos, I got a formula. I do 80% toward women, 20% toward men. But I coach a lot of men. And, and I'm going to tell you something. Most women come to me when they want to gain something, a relationship, a marriage. They want to gain something. Men come to me when they don't want to lose something. They don't want to lose the relationship. I fucked up. And I say, is she mad at you? And he'd be like, yeah, mad as hell. I said, you can still get her back then. She told me she hate me. I said, she can get her back then. I said, because hate and love are not that far apart. Here's how you know. A dude came to me the other day. He's like, man, relationship is over. How you know the relationship is over is when a person becomes indifferent.
When it's over, man. Do not linger. Do not let it consume you. Don't hold on to something that isn't working because it's just going to continue to break and destroy you. That's all it's going to do. And this is it's a hurtful topic because now we're all forced to think about situations that didn't work out, and it sucks. But you have to be able to you have to be able to talk about this. When you're at your weakest point, that's the only strength you have. It's how you push through those weak points. This is crazy. See, this is the kind of stuff that I like to avoid. I don't know why I clicked on it, but you know, this is crazy and it's interesting. So we wanna talk about this.
Attention, love, you name it. A hood masculine dude she's attracted to could still break your girl for free. Your black woman won't tell you this. If he gets her wet, you will be upset. Bro, I gotta tell you, man. Once again, this is another generalization. Not all black women are attracted to thugs. I can tell you this because I used to be a thug. When I was young, I was one of them guys that was out there running the streets, doing all kind of things that I should have never been doing. Thank God I changed my life. Thank God I got myself together. And I don't do that stuff no more and I don't run in them circles no more. But I can tell you from experience that there are women that are attracted to that type. But there's a lot of women that don't want nothing.
No parts, of course. Yeah, we all know that. That was just crazy to say. That was just crazy to say. I just had to go. I had to go and click on make sure it wasn't something, you know. But yeah, it was. People just get mad to say anything. I avoid stuff like that. I avoid stuff like that. But yeah, your mental health has a lot to do with your relationships. And if you're in a relationship that is not working out, man, just find the easiest, safest way out. I'll tell you by experiences, it's easier said than done. Put it that way. I'm not gonna say it's not easy, but it's easier said than done. Very much so. But you have to find a way to you have to find a way to separate from the people that aren't really there for you. This is how it can affect you a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. Let's see. I think this is it. It can affect you in a lot of negative
Hey, if you
ways.
live in one of these cities right here, why don't you own an apartment building? Seriously, let me show you a path that could absolutely change your life.
This week's mental health tips are about how mental illness affects relationships. Hi, I'm Angela. I have a husband with bipolar 2 disorder, my kids have ADHD, and I myself have struggled with depression. You're not alone. Why should we care about the mental health of the people we love and interact with? In the United States, almost half of adults will experience a mental illness in their lifetime. The other half still need to care for their mental health. Let me slow that down for a second. Almost half of adults will experience mental illness in their lifetime. We all know someone or are that someone who could be struggling at any given moment. Having a mental illness, even if we share the same mental illness, is as unique as the individual who experiences it. But there are some common ways that it impacts us. When we look at mental health, we can break it down to emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects
Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Emotional. Number one is emotional. You know why that is? Do we know why number one, emotional well being, is on the list? I mean, this affects all of these. Your emotions can positively or negatively affect each one of these. And the list goes down. But yeah, this is the reason why I say get out of bad situations. If they're not focused on this number one, or if that person you're with is not concerned about this number one, forget number two and three. If they're not concerned about your number one, they don't care about you. And you need to leave that person immediately.
It affects how we think, act, feel, how we handle stress, how we relate to others. If we want to have relationships that are loving and safe, then we need to address mental health in a way that will help us acknowledge the impact of mental illness and educate ourselves in empowering ways so that we can learn how to process our emotions, have healthy boundaries, and learn to collaborate with those that we love. Remember what it says in 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now
She about to go
these
to the Bible.
three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. How has mental illness affected your relationships? Comment below, I'd love to hear from you. And don't miss out on next week's video for parents: how mental illness affects your relationship with your kids. A big thank you to His Heart Foundation.
Okay. All right. She didn't say nothing. She said a whole bunch of nothing. But she has some pretty good points. Real quick. Real quick points. And you know, you don't gotta hear it from me. You can hear it from the white lady or to any other lady you want. But facts are facts. Your mental health is greatly affected in a situation that is, you know, a relationship that is abusive. I mean, it's not it's not easy. It's Men's Mental Health Month too, so we definitely want to discuss that. See if they got some points we can break down for y'all.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is the Black Love Men's Roundtable. My name is Belief, and I want the gentlemen at the table to introduce themselves. Kariga, why don't you go ahead and start?
Peace, good people. I'm Kariga Bailey, angel father, author, Black love practitioner.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow it. Marcus Tankley, y'all know me as Marcus on the gram or Tank. I'm a father, a husband, social media influencer.
What's up, y'all? My name is Lawrence Robinson. I'm an actor, father. Yeah.
What's up, guys? My name is Anthony Clark. I'm a certified life and love coach and author.
Yeah, so today we're going to be discussing
Certified life
mental
and
health,
love coach.
physical health, and I just want you guys to tell me, and anybody can start. I want you to tell me when you recognized that you needed help, right? You were at your lowest, and I want you to tell me maybe who is the one that helped you recognize that.
I'll go ahead and start. So there was a period of time where, so I had moved to California. I'm out here working my way up, corporate ladder. And then my last job that I had, I was striving for a particular position. Really, really wanted to get there. So I ended up getting this position. And a year before I got this position, my dad passed. So I'm in this position, in a new position, still dealing with that, not really realizing it. On top of being in a position where, up until that point, 18 years before, I was a man. I knew exactly what to do. I'm in this position because of my experience. However, in this particular job, this field, I don't know what's going on. I'm still learning everything. So I'm like green again. I ain't been green for 18 years. What is this? So going through that, then I'll fast forward a little bit. I had a conversation one day. I was met a guy who had been in this position for quite some time. I was leaving work, came up on him. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Let me get some feedback from him. At this time, it was probably like 6 months in.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. And he's telling me everything about how his day went, how his last couple of weeks have gone, and what the forecast is for the next couple of weeks. And as he's talking, I'm realizing there's no way in hell I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. There is no way. So coming to that realization in that moment, in that conversation, driving home, having that epiphany, still the lingering effect of losing my dad, and then in the middle of this, we still doing our podcast, me and my wife and everything, vlogging and everything. And I look back, fast forwarding, up until through last year, realized I was extremely depressed. I was going through it, and I thought I was just stressed because of work. Like I lost a whole lot of weight. Yeah. I'm between 220 and 240. Right now I'm like 245. I was down to barely 200 pounds. And on my frame, going back and look at it, you can tell like my face is shrunken down. And I told my wife, I was like, I was depressed right here. I was looking at a video. I was like, look at my face. I don't even look healthy.
Yeah.
And she, they don't see that. Oh, you always look good, babe. Like, man, just shut up. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm over here, like, look at me right here. So realizing that, it was like,
Listen to
I had
that.
that trauma.
He told his wife. He told his wife, the woman that he chose to marry. He said, "Look at me back then. I was depressed. I was unhealthy, and I wasn't feeling good." She said, "Nobody noticed that. Nobody." She dismissed everything he said, and not saying that she's a horrible person. I'm not saying that she should be condemned and ridiculed and talked about, bad about, nothing. I'm not saying that. She's probably a fine woman. She's probably, you know, but she probably did that without knowing the impact of what she said. Now, maybe she made up, maybe she apologized, maybe she came to her senses, but that right then and there, if he wasn't mentally capable of disregarding that comment and still, you know, if he wasn't able to just say, you know what, I don't care what she says. I know something was going on. I know I'm depressed. I know something is wrong. If he didn't have that mental fortitude to say that, he probably would have been still in that position. He probably would have still been wondering what type of career he wanted, wondering this, wondering that. And, you know, we don't know how that could have turned out for old boy. We don't know. But I'm glad he found Found himself back to where he wanted to be, and he's happy now. I'm so glad.
It was like almost like a trauma of looking back at the past and was like, dang, I went through that and I didn't even realize it.
Was it the fact that it disrupted your purpose?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as a lot of men have this whole mindset. A lot of us, our career is us. That defines us. What we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And me being in this position, money's okay and everything, but being in this and it's just like, but if I don't want to do this, what am I going to do with my life?
Okay.
I got 4 kids. I got a wife. I got mortgage. I got bills. It's like I support all of this. My wife is over here. People see her as the mogul. I'm the foundation of that. Like I'm stable. This is what I do.
Yes.
I've done this for 20 years. This is me, and this ain't what I want to do.
And now it's gone.
And my heart is not in it. So that's when it's gone. Like the thrill was gone, and I was just like, what? So it was like a hard conversation I had with myself. But then I realized, I hope I'm not fast forwarding, but I realized every single time I've made an elevation in my career, elevation in life, God was always the forefront of that. And I realized he always makes me uncomfortable enough to move, so I move myself. It ain't like I pray for it and God's like,
His relationship with God, whoever God he serves, which, you know, whatever he chooses, he had to focus on that. He had to hone in on that. That's what he had to hone in because he couldn't depend on his wife. She didn't care about him. She didn't care about his emotions. She didn't care about how he felt. She didn't care about it. He thought he was depressed or he was feeling this way. He had to turn to God and say, "Hey, look, I need help." I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
oh, here you go.
Yeah.
It's like, no, God's like, no, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable enough to where you can do this. You end up doing this yourself. I'm gonna push you out of that place you don't want to be in. And that's what he was doing. And that was what, fast forward now, that's what moved me to retire from my 9 to 5 last year in May and work for me and my wife full time.
Yeah.
So now self-employed. But I ended up going through all that because I never would have stepped away from my 9 to 5 because that's what I do. That hands-on. Structural and tech. I do all that stuff all day. But did I enjoy it? No, I was just good at it.
Yeah. Can I just speaking of purpose, right? I just kind of wanted to table it to Anthony because it seems like all the things throughout your life has kind of culminated to the moment where you and your wife got together. Now you guys are life coaches, right? Because you've had a very interesting story.
Yeah, you can have life if you want to be a life coach.
Exactly. So can you tell me about that point where you kind of reached that low point and you were like, something has to change at this moment?
So for me, there were a couple of moments like that in my life. So I had like multiple breakdowns. Well, I like to call them catharsis that I went through. The first one was I moved to California, I played sports, and I moved from Brooklyn to California to go to college at 17. And immediately I met my college girlfriend. And we moved in together, and I saw that we weren't compatible, but I stuck with it anyway. But we started fighting like cats and dogs, cats and dogs. We both stubborn. And so we broke up. We were doing an X sex, make up, break up, make up, break up. And she said she was pregnant with twin boys. At the time, I had an opportunity to play pro basketball in Peru and pro baseball with the Brewers, AA baseball. So I was ready to go to camp, and she comes back and goes, I'm pregnant.
Are you interested in starting your own faceless YouTube automation channel, but all people do is tell you to go to frickin' Fiverr?
And even though we weren't connected, my father wasn't there for me. So I'm like, I'm always gonna be there for my kids, even though I feel like I shouldn't be with her. So I married her anyway. So in the process, I had to give up the sports because she needed help right then and there, so I couldn't report to camp. So to make a long story short, I married her. The twins were born, named after me. The first 3 years, we just fought, me and her, like still like cats and dogs, and it just hit rock bottom. It was like, this ain't gonna work. Then I found out that I wasn't the biological father after all of that. So here I am in my 20s, like 21, 20, about 20, 23 at the time. Lost the marriage, athletic career, my whole future. So it was like rock bottom.
Yeah.
I even thought about killing myself at different points. But then my spirit was like, you know what? This could be a blessing. This could be an opportunity for you. But in order for you to take advantage of it, you got to get your shit together. You got to stop blaming everybody else and start looking at yourself. And so I started doing my inner work.
Okay, so what does that look like? Because a lot of people say inner work, but I don't know what would be work.
Inner work. He's getting ready to get into it, but I want to touch on that a bit. Um, Inner work is a very, very convoluted piece of healing. It's a part of healing. Okay. If you thought healing was just asking God for forgiveness or a direction, no, no, don't don't even think that way. You got to look internally. You got to look within yourself and say, hey, is this really what I want to go through? Do I really want this? If that answer is no, what do I need to do to change it? What can I control to ensure that this doesn't happen? I don't wind up with a chick who cheats on me and I'm not the biological father and I'm doing everything I can for her. That means you got to be very disciplined when it comes to the women you pick. That means you gotta really hone in on yourself and what you allow around you, the type of crowd you allowed on you. Why was that woman even allowed to get in your space? She's fighting with you every day. You hear that? Listen to what he said. Listen to what he said. I'm gonna play it slowly
What?
for you.
This could be a blessing. This could be an opportunity for you. But in order for you to take advantage of it, you got to get your shit together. You got to stop blaming everybody else. Here it was like, you know, we just fought, me and her, like still like cats and dogs, and it just I
Said
had to give up
fought
the
like
sports
cats and
because she needed
dogs.
help right then and there, so I couldn't report to camp. So to make a long story short, I married her. The twins were
She needed help. Now, again, not trying to shame the woman, but this was on him. He was a professional ball player, and he chose her
there for my kids, even
over
though
that.
I feel like I shouldn't be with her. So I married her anyway. So in the process, I had to give up the sports because she needed help right then and there, so I couldn't report to.
He couldn't go to camp because he had to take care of the kids and her. That's sorry. Yeah, that's brutal. This is why I say leave the relationship, especially before you get kids. Because once them kids come, it's a wrap. You can't just dip. Now, me particularly, if I got camp, whatever sport it is, I'm a professional player. Oh, them kids going to grandma, auntie. I'm calling everybody. I need y'all to take care of these kids for probably a good couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks. Need to be with you. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're not getting in the way of my career, of my success. But he allowed her to do that.
To camp. So to make a long story short, I married her. The twins were born, named after me. The first 3 years, we just fought, me and her, like still like cats and dogs, and it just hit rock bottom. It was like this ain't gonna work. Then I found out that I wasn't the biological father. After
Ah,
all of that.
damn. That's where he. Whoo. Shit. Think about that. It's already bad enough. Look. Think about the roller coaster of emotion, the roller coaster of mental aptitude, the just damage of psyche. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going in right now. My bad, y'all. Yeah, no. My bad. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back. But yo, what? You decide to say, you know what? She's pregnant. Oh, let me back it up. You playing sports. You're in high school. You're, you're going to college. You're going to, you know, professional from college. You went to California, play basketball, play football, baseball, wherever the heck, whatever sport it is. You're right there. You're on the cusp. Some motherfuckers can't even get that far. You made it to the you made it past the 1%. You're in the 0.01% of people in the world that can play a professional sport and sustain it and still can be fit to do it. Still looks like he could be fit to do it. So you, you meet a chick. She look good. She probably bad. She probably everything you want. You've been busting down. You're a superstar in the eyes of your city. You're a gold. You know what I'm saying? You Michael Jordan. Well, he's probably not Michael Jordan, but you the star. So he probably was knocking down a couple. She probably wasn't the only one he was knocking down. Come on now. Look at look at old boy. I didn't even see old boy's face. Yo, zoom in. Yo, 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 yo. Can we see that in real time? Can we see that in real time? Hold on.
Yeah, so I couldn't report to camp. So to make a long story short, I married her. The twins were born, named after me.
Look at his face. He's serious. Look, look, look. Look, he's serious. He's serious. He, he like, okay, I know I'm about to drop the bombshell. Look at him. I'm saying, I'm praying. He already praying. He already asking God, like, yo, this is about to be some crazy. He knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. He
The
doesn't.
first
Look at his eyes. They
three
turn.
years, we just fought, me and her, like still like cats and dogs, and it just hit rock bottom. Was like, this ain't gonna work. Then I found out that I wasn't the biological father.
Oh, yo, look at the kid. Yo, yeah. Did you see the? Hold on. I want to see. Okay, everybody else kept a straight face. Everybody. Oh, he closed his eyes. He was like, "Oh Lord." He felt that pain. He felt that pain. He definitely felt the pain. He definitely felt the pain, but his reaction was more like, "Damn, bruh." Like, yo. His reaction was like, man, that's sad, dog. Shit. Like he really heartfelt. Like that's your real friend right there. That's your real friend right there. He feel like he gonna swing on somebody for you. He gonna stand and
After
watch.
all of that,
He gonna stand and watch it happen. he gonna pull the trigger on that nigga that's coming or that person or whoever that's coming after you. He gonna watch it happen.
so here I am in my 20s, like 21, 20, about 20, 23 at the time. Lost a marriage, athletic
Oh,
career, the whole
oh,
future. So it was like rock bottom.
Yeah.
I even thought about killing myself at different points.
that's crazy.
But then my spirit was like, you know what? This could be a blessing. This could be an opportunity for you. But in order for you to take advantage of it, you got to get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stop blaming everybody else and start looking at yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing my inner work.
Okay, so what does that look like? Because a lot of people say inner
Inner
work,
work.
but I don't know what be working inner. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell me what that means.
My inner work was to be honest with myself and to look at how I was, how I thought,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and to start questioning, is this really benefiting me? Why am I being like this? Why do
Mm-hmm.
I act like this?
Mm-hmm.
And the tendency for a lot of people is to be like, well, that's just the way I am. But I knew if I stay the way I am, I'm not going to get to where I want to be.
Amen.
So I
Mm-hmm.
always say, like, to go there, you got to grow there. You're on this
Yeah.
level, you're always trying to get to high levels of understanding,
Facts.
enlightenment, wealth, you name it.
Facts. And he said it perfectly. Said it perfect. Your inner work. You gotta look inside yourself. You can't ask God for that. You can't. You gotta do that work. You gotta put in that work. You gotta put in that effort. No one else is gonna do it for you. No one. Nobody. And you got to have that mindset because it's the reality. And if you don't get to the reality of it, you're going to be stuck in the fairy tale land, and that's where a lot of people want. That's a lot of what they want. They want you in this fairy tale land that things will work out for itself and you don't have to do anything. And that's crazy. That is a crazy thought. And you just are the way you are. You just who, like you said, I just who I am. That's just who I am. That's just how I am. No, how you are, yeah, it ain't gonna get you to where you want to be. It's not. He said it perfectly, like just like that, just like that.
So how are you going to get to those other levels? They ain't going to come to you. You got to go to it. So I got to expand and get out of my old way of thinking and being. And so I recreated myself. And I describe it like, and this connects to even a second trauma, so I'm going to combine them together. I went into the Department of Corrections as a state correctional officer, and I was involved in a shooting.
He was a cop.
And after that shooting, I experienced post traumatic stress. So now it goes back to the inner work. How am I gonna get out of this? The same way with the marriage. I mean, with that, now the shooting. So I compare it to a pantry cabinet. And everything in that pantry cabinet has been there throughout my entire life. The salt, shaking. These are all my beliefs, all the things I was programmed to be, and this and that. But it wasn't working for me. But I didn't really realize it. Then one day there's this traumatic event, the marriage, the divorce, the shooting, where there's an earthquake and everything gets knocked over. And so that's the breakdown. Now you lose your identity. Who am I? Like you, it forced me. That catharsis. The system breaks down when it takes too much pressure. Eventually it's gonna break down. But it breaks down to give you an opportunity to rebuild it back even better. So with my catharsis, it was like, okay, what most people try to do is to go back to what they were. So let me put the stuff back in here, but you're gonna get the same life again. So I was like, you know what? No, this is a great opportunity. I have the opportunity now to create the life I wanna live. I wanna be who I wanna be, not because of what other people expect of me. I'm gonna be my true self. I'm going to spirit within.
Yeah.
So that connection, because that's the internal guidance system where everything you need, all the answers, it's gonna come from there. God, whatever name you wanna call it. So most people trying to get it out there, it's not out there. There's nothing out there for you out there. It's in here. So if you don't go within, you will go without. Guarantee you.
I like that.
So what I started doing was I started putting this pantry back. I wasn't trying to recreate the same one. I wanted to create a pantry that I loved, a pantry that I was proud of. And so I'm putting stuff back like, what is this? Dude, this shit ain't good. I don't need that. Let me throw it out of the way. What is this? This is, I don't need that. What do I want there? I want this there. I want that there. So when I was done, I rebuilt this amazing pantry cabinet, an amazing life that I loved. And so the marriage and that, I did the same thing with each situation. And I came back better and stronger.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You want to add, Lawrence?
I mean, I ain't gonna never look at a pantry ever the same again. I'm gonna look
told
at
you.
seasonings like,
You ain't got no sage in here.
which one is from Philly? Which season is from New York?
He's in the Old Bay.
I'm looking at all my seasonings, looking at all, like, naming all the trauma.
Turmeric, huh? Okay.
I don't even like spicy.
Man, that was good, man. I'm triggered. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm triggered, man. Because, like, I'm so similar to both of you guys. It's like, as far as I had to recreate myself every time I moved to a different city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from Philly, born and raised, but then I had to move to New York City. You gotta recreate yourself, but you gonna go home. You know what I'm saying? Then moving to LA, it was the same thing. And what was really hard for me was, being a full-time actor and believing that this is what I wanted to do with myself, and it was my dream. I had to 100% commit to that. And with 100% committed to acting is dealing with financial struggle. Because if you in acting class, you home is work. But if you don't work, you
First, I've told you, he's your guy right there. That's the guy that's going down. He's going down ride for you. I already told you before the man even started talking. I already told you when he closed the way he closed his eyes, the way he looked, like the way he was reacting, bro. I already told you, bro. These are the people you want to surround yourself.
I wanted to do with myself, and it was my dream. I had to 100% commit to that. And with 100% committed to acting is dealing with financial struggle. Because if you in acting class, you gonna miss work. But if you don't work, you're gonna miss acting class. So it's like you gotta find that balance. And finding that balance is the hardest thing when it comes to being an actor. Like it's the hardest thing because you just gotta find like you gotta be able to figure out which is more. It's like I want to say what is more important. Yeah, what is more important at the time. And of course, she always comes to my mind. My acting coach, my big sis, Tasha Smith, she gonna come to my mind because, and when I got to LA, her being my coach, she would always say to me, "You have to find a way to sustain yourself. You have to find a way." And she would always say that to me. And when you broke, it's like I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm surviving.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Then being so close to somebody like that, people think that was a relationship that was.
You can see look how he's probably either close to his 50s or past his. He could be past his. He could be about 54 because black don't crack. You know what I'm saying? We look young. He looked like he could be. He looked like he could be about 39, 40. With the shaved head, but with the bald head, you don't know. He's a good 36, 37. Nah, let me take that back. Let me take that back. He's a good, probably about 40, 38, 39, 40. He's a good 36, 37. He's a good 36, 37. He look around my age right here, like 29, 30, no, probably 31. So, you know, that's that's what the lineup is. Definitely 50s. You know, he said correctional officer. Yeah, he's stringent. He said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this." And think about it. He went from being pro this, pro that to correctional officer. Like he's down. He switched. He switched sides. He was like, nah, fuck that. But yeah.
That I was born into. Like, no, that was, that was something that God gave me when I moved here. But that's what I was doing before I even got here. That's what I was doing in New York. I was trying to find a way to sustain myself. And I don't think I ever knew how to put a word to it. But of course she does. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is, every time when it came to recreate myself, I hit rock bottom. And hitting rock bottom is not being able to pay your rent, not being able to pay your bills. And when I hit rock bottom, I always go to God. I go to God, but I've never learned how to go to God until I moved to LA and I went to One Church LA with Sarah Jakes Roberts and Torrey Roberts. That's when I learned, like, it was just different going to that church. That church showed me, when people, oh, that's the Hollywood church, call it what you want, because that church feeds me. You know what I'm saying? And that church feeds me because it's relatable. It's not judgmental. It's just like the truth of like, yo, like, Sarah won't get up there and talk about auditions.
Yeah.
And she not an actress, but she know what we going through.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just about like just really going back to God. That's always.
He said a lot, and I don't want him to take off of what the show is about here because he went to you know other directions, religion. We can go to the religion side. Like I said, you definitely want to be in tune with your God, but there's another step next to that he's going to have to really understand because there's more to it than just being in tune with God and relationship with God. There's going to be another step. God's not done with you. Okay, he says yes, come to me, and yes, see me as the one true provider of your benefits, of your blessings. That's that's that you're yes, you understood that. You got there now. Now take the lessons, take what you learned and apply them to you. Build yourself up with his armor. If I could name the verse, I would. But I'm not the type to throw out Bible verses. But I understand a lot when it comes to just how religion kind of forms the way of life that we live and how to put it forth. Because if you do a lot of those things, you will be successful. You will be. In a lot of religions, if you do the things that the religion teaches, you will be successful. It's an abundance of it available, and you can be the person to be successful in it. Whatever religion it is, you will be successful if you do what that religion says do. Now, not all the time, not everything, of course. That's a general statement, but I'm just speaking in terms of you being who you are in that belief system. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your belief system. I can't tell you not to believe that, but I'm just going to tell you that if you really stick to those good values, the good values of it, and certain things you'll be able to understand. You should be able to understand. Hey, maybe that's not. something that's going to, let me research that a little bit. Let me see exactly where that comes from, where that pulls from. Because a lot of the things they will use in religious books, and it would kind of, you want to get the real meaning of it because a lot of it is vague. A lot of it is misinterpreted. A lot of it is derived from centuries and centuries and thousands of years of translation. So you got to understand that too as well. So there's a lot to unpack with that, and I'm not at all turning this channel into that, but a lot of what he's talking about, um, I want to pull it back really true. It's going to be on himself. It's going to be on his ability to see God and see his God, and then turn around and say, "Hey, let me walk with that. Let me be in my truth too as well. That serves that purpose, serves that same God, but I can move around in freedom. You still have your freedom. He gave you that. What are you going to do with it, son?"
It's where I lead. That's where always where I go.
And I think it's something beautiful about being able to lean on a community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know Kariga, like you one of them people that'll call me, and even if I don't answer, like I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I know you're calling me to a community and pulling me to a place where you believe better, right? You know about the people that you want to interact with. But I think it's because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but your foundation, with your family and having such a close knit community with your brothers, and now, to see how you and your wife, you know what I mean, collaborating the music and all this stuff. Can you add to this conversation?
Yeah, I'm listening deeply, processing, and I'm looking at like men on different intersections of life that I'm at. So I'm grateful for the conversation, but I'm also assessing myself within the cipher. Um, and when he started talking about that pantry, I was like, what made him choose the pantry? It's such an interesting place, right? And I do exercise of taking inventory, but my wife would love for me to take better care of the pantry, right? I know it, and I try. But it really made me look at him on an intersection like, damn, homie taking care of the pantry. At least the pantry's organized. Figuratively and literally though, but like living in the partnership. And that place in life, Marcus, we was talking about like, being in a career, X amount of years and just looking at it like, yo, it's different now. Or whether recreating yourself and finding that rock bottom and evolving and finding that rock bottom and finding God. And I'm listening to the conversation and the question, and I'm trying to ask myself like, damn, when is it? When was it? Where am I now?
Yeah.
Right? I'm certainly in a mind state of abundance. I'm not at rock bottom, but the blows that took me to the deepest waters, it almost felt like I could not find rock bottom. Rock bottom would have been stable ground.
Wow. That's deep.
Rock bottom would have been a certain turning point. I've been in the open. I've been in the deep waters, posturing myself for seeing different, seeing abundance, like training my mind to be the first mind
Told you
that
he older.
sees abundance and calls abundance rather than being the first voice that
He's
creates
probably
doubt.
still just really
But the doubts come
late
from lived
20s.
experiences. The doubts come from,
Definitely 40s.
losing my brother in 2014, gun violence, and the way that the way that exists around us so much.
Yeah.
Like, my intersection of life is I'm not far from it. And also looking at like, in a recent conversation, I finally was able to articulate that you can't just address me by any one situation that's happened to me.
Wow.
You'll have to address me or have a conversation with me about what has happened to me, but you also must address me as a man that's kept going. It's in my keep going. That's where you find way more about my faith, my intimacy, and really who God is in my life. It's not in my bottom moments. It's in the tenacity, the will to keep going, to keep striving. It's not like bullish either. Sometimes it's like this gentle, like relentless incrementalism. But I can't stay here. So when Anthony said, but I can't stay here, this is an invitation to create something new, meet myself a new way. But that does mean that perhaps everything you once was familiar with will no longer be. Who am I outside of this experience?
Wow.
So I think I'm asking myself that question real time, real life. And I am framing the habits of mind to tell myself, like, you can't pray with a double mind. So my mind has to be solid even when I'm praying to God. If I'm praying with doubt, I'm the double-minded person in the prayer.
Amen.
So I train myself to remember what is true and then submit myself in that alignment with prayer. But when it's done, whether you're in your prayer closet on your knees or just driving, talking real life,
I had to situate my mind on abundance, not the losses that have happened to me, but they have happened, bro. They have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the scariest part about what you're saying is that you don't want to believe that you're going to have to get used to the loss, right? And so it's constant, right? And you're like, oh, grief is something that I have to invite.
But yeah, this is y'all can finish the video yourselves if y'all want to. I'm getting ready to wind down for the night. That is a it's a very it's a very touching like topic, but at the same time it's like we are going through so much pain, so much hurt, so much confusion, trying to find what is peace. You just be in that. Think about that. Think about how the turmoil, the trauma, the pain, where that leads us to. Is that the only way to peace? Is that the only way to it? Yin and yang, balance. The good comes with the bad, and vice versa. Man, it's it's a crazy world we live in. But yeah, that's gonna be how we conclude it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, remember, go ahead and get you some natural products, skincare products. Ladies, get your scrub on, get your rub on. Fellas, get your definitely still gotta take care of your skin and your body. It's important. I'm probably gonna be going to the beach next week. Is it next week? I don't know. Maybe we got the next. I think it's snow. Yeah, we got the next. Sometime in July. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, got a few more tournaments coming up. Gonna start back, getting things going. We're gonna turn this up, man. It's coming. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, y'all. We just trying to make this happen. Bring this community together and really start doing the things we say we want to do. We say we should be happening. Y'all want this shit to happen, don't you? Like, let's do it. Let's come together. Subscribe, join. We're gonna have all types of different contests, all types of different events. Everything is down the line coming. Promise you. Just gotta hop on board. That's all you gotta do. We're gonna keep it groovy. Yeah. So, all right, man. All right, y'all. Stay safe out there. Tune in on Thursday, 9 p.m. Well, probably gonna start till we say 11 p.m. I think we got the game on Thursday, don't we? No, we got a game Friday. Okay. Yeah. Tune in next time. I might have some guests on here. Cause I'm gonna go live. Super live. This is recorded. Let that finish out. That's a dope beat. Look. Something like this. Something like this. Look. Hey, baby girl, you so fine. I wanna make sure you are mine. Before I leave here tonight, I want to show you that I can do you right. Yeah, yeah, speak to your light. Do the things that you like. Yeah, like if we can take a real nice flight. Going in the bathroom, right? Hey, hey, cooking that chicken with the rice. You know you doing like that. Got that. You're looking super thick tonight. Hey, yeah. All right, y'all.